Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Tammy, and this is where characters gather. Okay. Today, as you know from the thumbnail, we are going to talk about all the fantasy books and series that I am wanting to read, am currently in the process of reading, or, have been sitting on my shelves for a while awaiting me to read. A bunch of my friends have asked for this video, and thus it is being sent out into the world. And it is quite the extensive pile here. I'm not going to talk about any book in any particular detail. I am, however, leaving off two great series. The first is the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, if you want to consider that. It's 4 books then. And the Wheel of Time trilogy. Those are well known. They're talked about constantly. I am needing to reread The Lord of the Rings and do a better job of it this time around. And I need to restart The Wheel of Time. However, there's no need to talk about those in this video. So, there's a giant stack over here. I'm not going to talk about any of the books that are sci-fi fantasy. In this book, these are just straight up fantasy and or magical realism. And yeah, so without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, first up would be a Catholic one. And this is The Wizard Knight by Gene Wolfe. And if I recall, this is 2 books. The first is The Knight and the second is The Wizard. This is Catholic fantasy. And they're a little over 400 pages each. They're not bad. Haven't read them yet. I very much want to. I will read you the back of this one. A young man in his teens is transported from our world to a magical realm consisting of 7 levels of reality. Transformed by magic into a grown man of heroic proportions, he takes the name Sir Abel of High Heart and sets out on a quest to find the sword that has been promised to him. The blade that will help him fulfill his ambition to become a true hero, a true knight. Inside, however, Sir Abel remains a boy, and he must grow in every sense to survive what lies ahead. That is all I want to know going into this. I haven't started it yet. His writing is one that requires you to think. And I have too many other big books in progress to start this particular one, however. It's very high on my list. Okay. These are in no particular order, by the way. Next up is one I have read. I'm currently wanting to read the next book in the series, and that is the first book in the First Law series, which is The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is dark fantasy. It is funny. It involves older protagonists. Yes, there's violence in it. Yes, there's cussing. However, the story is fabulous. It is absolutely fabulous. I laughed out loud several times in this book. And the other 2 books in this series are sitting on my shelves. I have another trilogy for him sitting on another set of shelves. I fell in love with his writing. I don't know how else to describe it. I fell in love with his writing. Okay. This one has been carted around the country with me for years now, and I haven't sat down to pick it up. It is one of those books, you either love it or you hate it. That is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. Magical realism. Historical magical realism at that. And my copy has all these pen and ink drawings in it, scattered throughout. I've read maybe like 50 pages of this. And I'm invested. But again, It's probably not up this summer for Big Book Summer, but I could surprise myself because, mood reading. And believe it or not, this was her debut novel. It's so impressive that this was published in 2004. And the debut novel of 846 pages. It's impressive. Wouldn't happen today. And I'll read you the back. In the year 1806, in the throes of the Napoleonic Wars, most people believed magic to be dead in England, until the reclusive Mr. Norrell of Hertford Abbey reveals his powers and becomes a celebrity overnight. Soon another practicing magician emerges, the young, handsome, and daring Jonathan Strange. He becomes Norrell's student, and the two join forces in a war against France. But as Strange is increasingly drawn to the wildest, most perilous forms of magic, he risks sacrificing not only his partnership with Norrell, but everything else that he holds dear. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's moving up in Big Book Summer. Yeah, don't hold your breath. Okay. One I'm in the process of reading would be Taliesin by Stephen R. Lawhead. Have I made any progress since I last talked about this book in a video? I have not. Do I need to rectify that? I do. This is an Arthurian retelling, as you can tell from the titles of all the books in the series. And, yeah. Okay. I have read the first couple chapters of this. This is A Gathering of Ravens by Scott Odin. This is Nordic fantasy. Thus, it's going to be dark. And it's Viking fantasy at that. So, this is a trilogy. I only own the first book. I'm waiting to see if I like this to buy the other books in the series. So, we shall see. But this one is by far the shortest so far at 318 pages. So for me, this should be a very quick read. So why am I putting it off? Good question. Okay, this one I have read. I have tried to read the second and third books in the second book in the series, and it wasn't working for me at the time. However, this is The Oath of Brotherhood by Carla Lorano. This is the first book in the Song of Seer series. There's 3 books. Covers are all gorgeous. I enjoyed this book very, very much. It is Celtic fantasy. It's, according to the author, not allegorical. But if you ask a reader, they're going to tell you it's Christian allegory. So take that for what you will. Okay, next up would be The Shadow of Gods by John Gwynne. This is, I want to be, Nordic fantasy. This is the first book in the series. I'm in the process of picking up the other 2. I will read you the back. Norse-inspired epic of blood and vengeance. When the gods fought, it was a battle so savage they destroyed themselves, leaving nothing but their bones and the broken land of Vigrid in their wake. Now, as whispers of war echo over the fjords and across the plains, fate follows in the footsteps of 3 warriors, a huntress on a perilous quest, a noblewoman pursuing battle fame, and a thrall seeking retribution among the mercenaries known as the Bloodsworn. All 3 will change the course of the world as it once more falls under the shadow of the gods. And thus the title of the book. I am incredibly interested in this book. And I did recently pick this up, and you will see it in a forthcoming book haul video. This is the omnibus of the Chronicles of Narnia by C.S. Lewis. This is Christian allegorical fantasy, and it is children's fantasy at that. Believe it or not, I did not enjoy this as a child, and I want to see if it's better as an adult. I know it's beloved in the community. I didn't enjoy it as a kid, and I have not gone back to it as an adult, so we shall see. I picked this up from the library. It cost me a whopping $1. So if I don't like it, it's no big deal. But it's kind of hard to talk about fantasy and not talk about Lewis. There you go. Okay. Next up is an author I really want to try. Several of his books are on Kindle Unlimited, and they're deeply researched. And I won this one on Goodreads several years ago. This is All the Seas of the World by Guy Gabriel Kay. And I'll read you the back. On a dark night along a lonely stretch of coast, a small ship sends 2 people ashore. Their purpose is assassination. They have been hired by 2 of the most dangerous men alive to alter the balance of power in the world. If they succeed, the consequences will affect the destinies of empires and lives both great and small. One of those arriving at that beach is a woman abducted by corsairs as a child and sold into years of servitude. Having escaped, she is trying to chart her own course and is bent upon revenge. Another is a seafaring merchant who still remembers being exiled as a child with his family from their home. For their faith, a moment that never leaves him. And what follows through a story both intimate and epic, unforgettable characters are immersed in the fierce and deadly struggles that define their time. I'm very, very intrigued. And this one is under 500 pages at 496. So, it's one of the shorter ones. Okay. Next up would be Malice by John Gwynne. This is the first book in the Faith in the Fallen series. Miriam did a recent wrap-up video which she talked about how much she enjoyed this video. This was the book I intended to buy when I bought Shadow of the Gods. Fate decided I should buy one and not the other. Blonde senior moment. And now, come this summer, I'm reading with a group of friends. I cannot wait. I'll read you the back. The world is broken, and it can never be made whole again. Corbin wants nothing more than to be a warrior under King Brennan's rule, to protect and serve. But that day will come all too soon, and the price he pays will be in blood. Evnis has sacrificed too much, it seems. But what he wants, the power to rule, will soon be in his grasp, and nothing will stop him once he has started on the path. Baradas is the newest member of the war band for the High Prince Nathar. He is one of the most skilled swordsmen to come out of his homeland, yet he is always under the shadow of his older brother. Nathar has ideas, and a lot of plans. Many of them don't involve his father, the High King Aquilus. Nor does he agree with his father's idea to summon his fellow kings to council. The Banished Lands has a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle. But now giants stir anew, stones weep blood, and there are sightings of giant worms. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than the ancient wars. For if the Black Sun gains ascendancy, mankind's hopes and dreams will fall to dust. And this was his debut novel. And it is 628 pages. And this one was published in 2012. I love that it has a map. So, and it opens with a quote from Paradise Lost. Always a good sign. Okay, the last book is one I've been meaning to get back to. I've read a couple of chapters way back when I first started my channel and haven't gone back to it yet. There is a dramatis personae in the back of the book, and this one is 635 pages. This is The Dragonbone Chair by Ted Williams. This is the first book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series. I've heard nothing but rave reviews about this. The chapters I have read were beautifully written and immersive, and I need to know. I have a feeling this one is coming out for Big Book Summer this year. I'll read you the back. A war fueled by the powers of dark sorcery is about to engulf the peaceful land of Ostenard. For Prester John, the High King lies dying. And with his death, the Storm King, the undead ruler of the elf-like Scythie, seizes the chance to regain his lost realm through a pact with a newly ascended king. Knowing the consequences of this bargain, the king's younger brother joins with a small, scattered group of scholars, the League of the Scroll, to confront the true danger threatening Ostenard. Simon, a kitchen boy from the royal castle, unknowingly apprenticed to a member of this league, will be sent on a quest that offers the only hope of salvation, a deadly riddle concerning long-lost swords of power. Compelled by fate and perilous magics, he must leave the only home he's ever known and face enemies more terrifying than Ostenard has ever seen, even as the land itself begins to die. Yeah. This is a trilogy. There are follow-on series. I know the second book in this series is so thick, it is split into 2 publications. I cannot wait. Okay. And that is all the fantasy in process, awaiting to be read, sitting on my shelves. Well, probably not all of it, but a good portion of it. I think I'm in the mood for fantasy. So I wouldn't be surprised if one or more of these showed up in the future. Well, we know Malice is going to show up in this summer, so other than Malice, something else will show up, I'm sure. Okay, is there something you'd like me to, explore off my shelves? If so, leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.